This could seriously impact the Boston Celtics as the new rules to the CBA have affected the buyout market for teams in the luxury tax. And since the Celtics are a part of them, they won't be able to acquire certain guys from the buyout market. We'll be exploring the new rules implicated to the NBA this year, breaking them down from the Celtics perspective, and then we'll also be looking at ways that the Celtics can acquire guys to improve the roster. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we dive into this Boston Celtics content, I would like to say that roughly 80% of our viewers, 79.9% to be exact, are not subscribed, and we greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. We can't thank everyone enough that's already hit that subscribe button, but if you want to make sure you stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics content and coverage and stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics news, hit that subscribe button as we're trying to get to our goal of 4,000 subscribers, and we can't do it with the help of you guys. But let's dive into this Boston Celtics breakdown in this news, so make sure to grab a snack as today's episode is going to be a jam-packed one as we dive in exploring who can the Celtics trade for. Now, like I mentioned in the introduction, with the new CBA, there are some new rules being added to the NBA and some restrictions to the buyout market, and we have an article from Bleacher Report explaining how it affects the Celtics and some other teams around the NBA. So first we'll be diving in as the Celtics, Warriors, and Heat among teams facing restrictions on the buyout market amid trades. And like I just mentioned, some of the NBA's top title contenders may not find much luck on the buyout market this winter due to new league-imposed restrictions for exceeding the luxury tax. Any team that has reached the first luxury tax apron, which is $7 million above the luxury tax level of $165 billion, will not be able to sign a buyout player who made more than the non-taxpayer mid-level exception of $12.4 million this season. This is also true for teams that have reached the secondary tax level, which is $17.5 million above that tax level. The teams that have reached those marks are on the following according to Spot Track's Keith Smith. And before I pull up Keith Smith's list of teams, if you guys aren't following Keith Smith yet on Twitter and you guys are active on Twitter, make sure to hit that follow button to him. He's a great Celtics coverage guy, breaks down a lot of Celtics stuff, giving out a lot of tidbits with the Boston Celtics, but he's also great on the salary cap. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date with salary cap stuff or just finding out about other teams in their salary cap, make sure to give him a follow as he's very, very in tap to that. But let's keep looking. As you guys can see, there are 7 teams that are above the first apron. The Celtics are one of them. They are in the second apron, but the other teams following are the Denver Nuggets, who are in the first apron, the Golden State Warriors in the second, Los Angeles Clippers in the second, Miami's in the first, and Milwaukee and Phoenix are both in the second apron. What that means for all of these teams is, like the Boston Celtics, they will not be able to go out and acquire guys that get bought out over the non-tax mid-level exception of $12.4 million. This rule was amplified so that contending teams did not just get all the buyout guys straight out. Some guys on the end of the deals could not just go to a contending team to try to win. We saw this a couple years ago with the contracts of LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin with the Brooklyn Nets. Unfortunately, it did not work for those guys as they were a little bit older at the end of their careers when they decided to get bought out and weren't, helping pieces for these contending teams. But that is what this is to eliminate. It's to eliminate the best teams getting the best buyout guys automatically. And for some of these other younger teams that have kind of, been at the top of the Western Conference, able to get some of those buyout guys. As you guys can see, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves are 2 teams that were not mentioned on that list, and they easily could go out and get some get some veteran guys for their youngerish team to help them out in the buyout market. Like I mentioned, though, this is important for the league's title contenders who will be looking some minor upgrades ahead of the February 8th trade deadline in hopes of shoring up their rosters for a title run. The Celtics have been the best team in the league this season, and while they don't need help in the starting lineup, Boston is going to be aggressive in just seeing what could be out there for bench help, The Athletic and Stadium's Shams Charania reported last month. This bench help could come in the form of a buyout player, but since the franchise is restricted, it is unclear in what they could get there. So for the Boston Celtics, if they wanted to get someone on the buyout market, that player that is bought out would have to be under the $12.4 million. Now, in the NBA, that rarely happens because guys on those type of deals under $12.4 million are either guys on deals that are fitting for their contract, they're, some role type players that aren't going to get bought out, or there are young guys on young rookie extensions or rookie deals. Therefore, I don't necessarily see the Boston Celtics going out and getting someone from the buyout market because of these new restrictions that have been implied from the NBA. Now, like the article mentioned, the Celtics have been looking for some bench help. They already have the best starting five in the NBA, but we've seen some improvements with this bench unit. We've seen Sam Hauser step up. We've seen Al Horford step up when his number is called. But guys like Payton, Pritchard, and Oshae Brissett in recent games have been doing great for the Boston Celtics, and we've all known about that center battle between Luke Kornet and neemias, and Luke Kornet is seeming to get the minutes over neemias at the moment. So it's looking like this Boston's bench is looking a little bit solidified. The only way that they might be able to make a move is if they use the Grant Williams traded player exception in this offseason. If you want to keep looking, you guys can see that for the Boston Celtics to use this trade exception, they would have to use it on someone that is under $6.25 million. As you can see, they got that traded exception from Grant Williams, and they'll have to find someone that fits into there. Unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, this does not mean they can go out and get guys like Kyle Lowry or a guy like Gordon Hayward. I've seen on Twitter and in the YouTube comments a lot of people screaming for the Celtics to go and get those guys out on the buyout market, but like I've mentioned in this video, it is statistically impossible for the Boston Celtics to acquire any of those two guys. If you guys want to look at Kyle Lowry's contract, you guys can see that he is on a $29 million deal. If he were to get bought out by the Charlotte Hornets, he would be above that $12.4 million, where the Celtics would not be able to acquire him. If you want to look at a guy in Gordon Hayward, he's making roughly right around $31 million, $2 more million than Kyle Lowry. Like I just mentioned with Kyle Lowry, the Celtics would not be able to acquire Gordon Hayward. Don't believe what you see on Twitter. Don't believe what people are screwing about. I've seen plenty of tweets talking about how the Celtics could go after one of these guys if they move money around and they do this and do that. But the Celtics aren't going to free up $18 million of dead cap space just to bring in Gordon Hayward. They're not going to trade Al Horford away and Payton Pritchard away for absolutely nothing to bring back Gordon Hayward to be a potential buyout piece. Therefore, the Celtics will not be looking to do any of that and will be looking to use their traded player exception to get some upgrades. Like we've mentioned in plenty of videos, there are so many guys that fit into this traded player exception. Some guys that are on rookie extensions, some guys that have kind of not really lived up to their end part of the deals. We brought up multiple guys from Andre Drummond to John Conchar, Saddiq Bey, Najee Marshall, and plenty others. Personally, for the Boston Celtics, I'm really liking what I'm seeing with this team right now. Oshae Brissett has been a nice energy wing for the Celtics, kind of bringing that energy that neemias brings. And Luke Kornet, in my personal opinion, has been a solid backup center. Yes, he's a little bit slow, but he can finish around the rim a little bit better than neemias, and he's a little bit better not getting fouls than neemias. Personally, I think the Celtics should play both of them in the back, possibly use that traded player exception on a guy that could bring some help to the Celtics. I know last year they used their traded player exception on Mike Muscala, so a guy like Mike Muscala is possibly a guy the Celtics will be going after, a guy that hasn't really had that much light this season, but could be an impact piece. Maybe it's John Conchar, maybe it's Andre Drummond, maybe it's Saddiq Bey, or it could be just a random guy that no one from the Celtics expects and no one has been reported, because that's how Brad Stevens works. He works in silence. But let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on the new CBA that affects the Boston Celtics, and let me know who you guys want to see the Boston Celtics possibly go out and get with the Grant Williams TPE to make adjustments for this roster. The Boston Celtics have an impactful game tonight as they take on the Miami Heat. No injuries ahead of the roster as of now, so it's looking like it's going to be a battle during rivalry week. We'll have a post game to break down for you guys as well, so make sure if you want to stay tuned for that and stay tuned for more Celtics content, hit that subscribe button if you guys are at this point in the video and not subscribed. We know you guys enjoy the content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.